live. CTV, Metro TV, TV3 are also taking it live. Accra FM 100.5, Power FM 97.9, Ahoto FM 92.3, Star FM 103.5, Plus FM 91.3, Radio Gold 90.5, Trinity FM 96.7, Lord FM 101.7, Think News and Graphic Online. Without much ado, I would soon invite our General Secretary to address the presser. And we are going live in the next 5 minutes. We are going live in the next 5 minutes. Okay. All right. So we are just going to go live, and I'll invite our General Secretary who is going to address us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Godwin, thank you so much for the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, our party faithfuls, the good people of Ghana, I want to extend our appreciation to all of you for the very swift response to this urgent call. And we are grateful that you have gathered here on very short notice to engage with us on a matter of immense national importance. Today we stand before you to expose the unconstitutional, undemocratic, and provocative actions of the Jim Mensah-led Electoral Commission, which have once again demonstrated. I'll go into the details in order to ensure that all of us understand what's going on. The EC, in an act of sheer disregard for the legal processes and justice, has chosen to disqualify candidates based on an inspired and irrelevant interlocutory injunction tied to a completely different election. This blatant abuse of authority, this overt manipulation of the democratic process, and this audacious attempt to deny the people of Memphis Central their rights to representation cannot and will not be tolerated. The NDC, as a political party founded on the core values of justice, equity, and democracy, will not sit idly by while the EC, a state institution constitutionally mandated to safeguard our electoral process, turns itself into a political tool for the ruling NPP government. What we are witnessing at the moment is nothing less than a direct attack on the fundamental pillars of our democracy, an attack that seeks to erode the right of voters to freely choose their representatives. We recognize this for what it is, an orchestrated plot to weaken the NDC in key constituencies, tip the electoral scale, and sabotage the will of the people of Ghana. Now, the facts of the case. Ladies and gentlemen, let us set the record straight on the facts of this case, for they are not complicated at all. But they rather represent a reflection of the blatant disregard for legal process and fairness by the Jim Mensah-led Electoral Commission. On May 13, 2023, the National Democratic Congress conducted its parliamentary primaries in the Memphis Central constituency. We saw Madam Joanna Jankujo winning overwhelmingly and became the chosen candidate of the party. However, following that victory, certain individuals who were dissatisfied with the outcome filed a lawsuit. In response, an interlocutory injunction was secured, which temporarily restrained Madam Joanna Jankujo from holding herself out as a duly elected parliamentary candidate until the final determination of the substantive matter. Here is where the situation becomes clear. This injunction was not a final judgment. It was a temporary provisional order one that simply puts on hold the situation until the court could fully examine the claims. An interlocutory injunction, by its very nature, is never a final determination of the matter. It does not decide who is right or wrong. It does not pass a verdict. It merely maintains the status quo for the time being. However, as is often the case with legal processes, time was not on our side. After the injunction was issued, the court went on vacation, which meant that the NDC's application to resolve the matter could not be heard. We were at an impasse. The NDC was faced with a difficult decision: wait for the court to resume, knowing that this would significantly delay the process, or take proactive steps to ensure that the constituency will have a candidate for the upcoming parliamentary elections. Recognizing the urgency of the situation and mindful of the electoral timelines, the NDC's Functional Executive Committee made a prudent decision to annul the May 13, 2023 elections and proceed with fresh primaries. This decision was necessary because the court was on vacation and time was running out for the party to present a parliamentary candidate for the constituency. The annulment was not a concession of any wrongdoing on the part of the party, but rather a responsible move to ensure that democracy in Amenfi Central would not be held hostage by legal technicalities and the court's vacation schedule. Thus, on September 8, 2024, fresh elections were held. While 4 candidates initially contested the May election, that was the prior election, for this rerun in 2024, only Joanna Jankujo and the incumbent MP, Peter Akwachi Aka, took part in the contest. The election conducted in accordance with all party rules and electoral guidelines was supervised by the Electoral Commission itself, which was duly informed every step of the way. The process was transparent, and Madam Joanna Jankujo was once again declared the clear winner of the process, without any protests or objections from any other candidate or any controversies surrounding the process. The September 8 election superseded the May election, making the earlier contest irrelevant and reinforcing Madam Joanna Jankujo's legitimacy as the NDC's parliamentary candidate. Let me be clear on this point. The September 24 election rendered the May 23 election null and void. It effectively reset the clock. The interlocutory injunction tied to the May election became legally moot. The new election, conducted under fresh circumstances, was a legitimate process, fully compliant with the laws of Ghana, with no legal challenge against it. Yet, despite these undeniable facts, the Electoral Commission, in an astounding display of incompetence and recklessness and bad faith, has gone ahead to disqualify Joanna Jankujo. Their actions are based on the premise of an expired injunction that is no longer applicable. The May 2023 election, which was the subject of that injunction, no longer exists. It was annulled and replaced by the fresh September 2024 election, which is not being contested in any court of law. So we ask the Electoral Commission, on what basis are you disqualifying Madam Joanna Jankujo? On what legal ground do you justify this decision? Are you so blinded by partisanship that you would invoke a court's order tied to an annulled election in an attempt to block a legitimate candidate? This is not only legally unsound, but deeply dangerous for the future of our democracy. The NDC adhered to every legal requirement throughout this process. We annulled the earlier election to respect the injunction, even though the court was on vacation and the matter could not be promptly addressed. We acted responsibly by holding fresh elections within the required time frame to ensure that the people of Amenfi Central would have a candidate to represent them. The Electoral Commission was involved every step of the way, and yet today they stand before us attempting to use an expired legal order to disqualify our candidate. This is nothing short of a travesty of justice. It is a violation of the right of our candidates and more importantly, a violation of the right of the people of Memphis Central, who have made their voices heard through their votes. The decision to disqualify Joanna John Kujo is legally baseless, morally indefensible, and a slap in the face of our democratic principles. Furthermore, it's actually a violation on the right of us as a political party to be able to have a representation to take part in the election in December 7. The Electoral Commission must explain to Ghanaians how they can justify such a blatant miscarriage of justice. They must explain how they can disenfranchise thousands of voters based on a court order tied to an election that no longer exists. And they must be held accountable for the damage they are doing to the credibility of our electoral system. The NDC will not accept this decision. We will fight it in the courts, we will fight it in the public arena, and we will fight it in every forum available to us. We will not allow this abuse of power to go unchecked. The rights of our candidates, the will of the people of Memphis Central, and the future of democracy demand nothing less. Let us not forget that this is not the first time the Jim Mensah-led EC has acted with such reckless disregard for democracy. We all remember the tragedy of Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lipe, and Lolobi, known as SAL, where the EC willfully disenfranchised an entire constituency in the 2020 election, leaving the people without representation in parliament. The people of Ghana must not be fooled. The disqualification of Madame Joanna Jan Kujo is part of a broader pattern of misconduct, but through legal trickery and administrative subterfuge. This latest travesty must not be allowed to stand. If we do not stop the EC now, then tomorrow it will be your constituency, your representative, your right to vote that will be denied. To further expose the wicked agenda of the Jim Mensah-led EC, it has emerged that the Electoral Commission showed its true intentions when it issued the letter of disqualification on 10th October 2024, a full 6 days before even bothering to check whether the injunction had been stayed or vacated at the secondary court. This blatant disregard for due process is clear indication of their bad faith. It wasn't until 16th October that the EC wrote to the secondary high court to inquire about the status of the injunction. This clearly is a desperate and shameful attempt to justify an unlawful decision after the fact. This sequence of events exposes the Electoral Commission for what it is under Jim Mensah's leadership. A biased, politically compromised body that is more interested in serving the agenda of its handlers than upholding the law and the principles of democracy. No self-respecting referee would act this way. Imagine officiating a match, allowing one team to score free, only to decide afterward that you need to check the rules. It is an absurdity that Ghanaians cannot tolerate. The EC supervised the acclamation of Joanna Jan Kujo, allowed her to go through the balloting process, and made no objection during this critical moment. And now suddenly, they claim she's disqualified based on an injunction tied to an annulled election. You can just imagine that's a political party. Every step of the way, we have waited and patiently seen the EC approving every process, meaning they actually have not been given an opportunity to know what is in their mind. If they had, for example, said earlier that there was a process, the party would have been in a position to take the step long ago to make sure the right things are properly done. It's pretty obvious, therefore, that the EC is not just demonstrating incompetence, but showing deep malice in the process. Now, this clearly is simply a sinister agenda to favor the ruling NPP. It is becoming clear that the Electoral Commission is no longer a neutral arbiter in our democratic process. Rather, it has become a tool in the hands of the ruling New Patriotic Party, wanting to suppress opposition candidates and skew the playing field in their favor. The EC's actions in Memphis Central are but the latest in a series of calculated moves designed to deliver a parliamentary majority to the NPP by any means necessary. The disqualification of Joanna Jan is an attempt to gift the Amenfi Central seat to the MPP on a silver platter, just as it did in Hohwe with Peter Ameni. This is not mere incompetence. This is deliberate, premeditated, and unlawful conduct. Jean Mensa and her cronies are operating with impunity because they believe that they are untouchable. They believe that the MPP's foothold in the EC grants them the license to abuse their power without consequence. But we are here to tell them that they are wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, let it be known here and now. The EC is at war with the NDC. This is a war we did not choose, but one we will fight to the bitter end. We are not fighting for just a parliamentary seat. We are fighting for the very soul of our democracy. We are fighting for the fundamental right of every Ghanaian to be represented fairly, to have their voices heard, and to ensure that no institution, no matter how powerful, can trample on the will of the Ghanaian people. Let it be clear that the NDC will not fold its arms while Jean Mensa and her gang at the Electoral Commission orchestrate this shameful and unlawful disqualification. We will not sit idly by while the Electoral Commission, in collusion with their masters in the NPP, dismantles our democracy, one unlawful decision at a time. We see their agenda and we will fight and crush it. Let there be no doubt, we are ready for this battle and will not rest until justice is served and the people of Amenfi Central get the representation they deserve. Following the EC's unconstitutional and baseless disqualification, our flag bearer, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and the leadership of the NDC wasted no time in giving a direct command to our legal team to take them to court and to stop them in their tracks. This is not a request, this is an order. The NDC actually has gone ahead, and this morning our lawyers in swift and decisive action served the Electoral Commission with court documents on the motion for an interlocutory injunction. The message is out loud and clear. We will not allow this disqualification to stand. The court documents have been filed, and we have secured an injunction to restrain the Electoral Commission from printing ballot papers, from issuing notices of poll, and from taking any further action towards the election in Amenfi Central until this matter is fully resolved. But let us understand this. The court battle is only one front in this war. We are not stopping there. The NDC is mobilizing, and our supporters across the country are ready to rise up in defense of democracy. We will not allow this injustice to pass. The people of Amenfi Central will not be silenced. The Electoral Commission has awakened a sleeping giant and will not back down, and we will not surrender. Let it be known to Jean Mensa and her cronies at the Electoral Commission. We see through your tricks. We know what you are trying to do. You want to turn Amenfi Central into another cycle where an entire constituency was disenfranchised, where the voices of the people were silenced, and where democracy was hijacked. But here as well, Amenfi Central will not be another cycle, not on our watch. The NDC will fight back with everything we've got, and we will not stop until justice is done and the will of the people is restored. To our supporters, we urge you to remain resolute and be ready. Stand prepared. This fight is far from over, and the next steps will be announced very soon. We will need every hand on deck, every voice raised, and every heart committed to this cause. Because the forces of darkness, those who seek to undermine our democracy with their disgraceful shenanigans, shall be defeated. They will not prevail. We will win this fight. This is not just a fight for Amenfi Central. This is a fight for the very future of our country. This is a fight for every constituency, for every voter, for every Ghanaian who believes in democracy, fairness, and justice. And you'll be brought to justice. This is our warning. To conclude, Ghanaians, we need to stand together to protect our democracy. Under the leadership of Jean Mensa, the Electoral Commission is steering us towards a future where elections are not decided by the will of the people, but by the bureaucrats and political operatives who pull strings from behind closed doors. This is not the Ghana that Kwame Nkrumah envisioned. This is not the democracy that our forefathers fought for and bled for. The disqualification of Jan Kujo on the right of every single Ghanaian who believes in fairness, justice, and the sanctity of the ballot box. This decision strikes at the very heart of our democratic values. It undermines the very foundation upon which our electoral system stands. We call on all well-meaning Ghanaians, civil society organizations, legal practitioners, and defenders of democracy to condemn this outrageous act. This is not merely an NDC issue. This is about the very future of our country. We must not allow a compromised institution like the Electoral Commission to dictate the outcomes of elections through underhanded and unlawful tactics. The NDC will not rest and the EC until the EC is held fully accountable for this disgraceful abuse of power. We will not rest until the people of Amenfi Central have their rightful representative in Parliament, chosen freely and fairly by the people, and not by an overreaching and corrupt institution. And will not rest until Jim Mesa and court are removed from office and replaced by individuals who genuinely respect the rule of law and the democratic principles that guide this nation. We will fight this battle on every front, in the courts, on the streets, and in the hearts and minds of the people. The NDC will continue to fight for the soul of this nation because we know that the forces of darkness, those who conspire to undermine our democracy, shall not prevail. The Jim Mensah-led EC will not prevail in this shenanigan. Democracy shall win. Justice will win. The people of Ghana will win. Thank you very much, and may God bless our whole country.
Right, thank you very much. And democracy will definitely win. We will be taking questions, but before then, we'll invite our Director Legal to give us a brief summary in the Twi language, and then we'll follow immediately with the questions. Thank you.
So, with speed and purpose, and then meeting and one see about responded to a normal echo. So, and no, you say Electoral Commission at the Kratali at the Betuda. Kratali in Aosha is dated 10th October. Can you imagine, say, Electoral Commission actual letter dated 10th October? In Omodia Tuomo, Omodia Tuomo, say, and Beba, so that Yabeka say, Enya dia NDC Amanyoku, our candidate for the Amenfi Central constituency. Na the year one was Sanyoma when you and said, Otro, the pictures now, Honor. Why is Sanyoma when you know? What's up, place so grandma, a candidate as a file, she was a jika home. Oh, the tax clearance certificate, ye be Amono. Oh, Baba betray and say, your attention has been drawn to an interlocutory injunction. Completely mischievous. Now, the other one crying and say, injunction now hold it down. Now, be supervise your election. Yeah. Now, said you ne papa mu ananka obetu sana mono. Ne papa mu a obetu sana mono. Na de ekoba ye nyina no ne say, emra ye party said you ye call election a ye sitting MP a ye friend of Peter Kwachiaka. Uluzi election no. Uluzi ye no wante no wase. Nti okoshe nkrofo bi echi. Ohwa audio recordings na wo ho a. Na o encourage some microphone say omonfa asem no ye dey enko court. Asem no court a judge no e dey e kan se o yenko because e ye fi asem nti no yenko settle issue no. The day ye court na me wo. Na ye senior party elder ye friend no Dr. Frank Ebu honorable. The first MP for that area. No court will be. It occur so all your party elder and Quadia, or better asem na kufia koye day, akosiesie. And now, no, thankfully, Sadana, not your running mate, Professor Jinana, no Western region. It was joining Pedifo to ensure, say, a best settle Sadia way. Back and forth, yet me in a court at the table at the tone. So, Sadia na and ye file appeal immediately. Ye call before the same judge to stay the execution. Oni anyadri in ye call court of appeal. Now, Moncha on myself. Ye file ye repeat application or court of appeal, second D, on the 4th of July. In a court in Maya, CMBA back on the 17th for the application to be heard. A day before, in a court, Rachel saying, yeah, dear, court of appeal no better unless October. Mr. Bo, unless October. From July, no, because of the vacation. And Champion Electoral Commission, the 82 just said, Oma be open nomination on the 9th of September. Inti party ni ye na adwin say, and yes, sir, adia plaintiffs no kran ye be den, ye be twam. Se sa na mo hwe fi court no ho dia, and ye twa bato no mu ni aye den ya to no foforo. Enye ne sa, in ye call ye. Ye no, rerun here, no water plaintiff nature no, or be file nomination. And so what candidate no winning yena court na the table told so no. Ono so be dey ever file for the fresh election. Sebio, ye party ha, ye vice chairman na ye friend no, Honorable Abanga. MP for K2 South, Honorable Ablaji Fagomashi. And the Deputy Director Legal, Honorable George Low, in the Tina veteran also. Yeah, veteran no, MP no the form e buy ye. The form now or the buy no, actually say, sebi o. And Crawford almost signing nomination form no man no. On your man kasa. Nem Crawford keke neko pair San Crawford no signature editor document no so. Including the Deputy Constituency Youth Organizer. It yet be a new master chair now, no who young or so, and yes, Adia, Parano. Adia, why it borders on criminality. And you know, and you are dear yet the better job. Into young chubby be also day and yet day. No, send yes, Adia. Contest no crown yet day. Uncle. Matison and Amabontia, what can say, you disqualify no. And yet no correct. Obian disqualify no. You open the opportunity. So be obey me a day. I could be on your day. Uncle. Now, the Ecoban in an say, yes, I'm here too, son. I'm on way in Sunday, 8th September. Electoral Commission. Man and Crawford. Momu beye day. Ebe supervise election. Me journalists Hano make sure the pictures of EC officials supervising what? The rerun of the election. Now, 1 hour supervising the rerun of the election. On the basis of that rerun election, in the year day, in the bar when him so, and ye, your candidate in ye, or no, and uncle for a war and may fear day, Ejina Horse or no video in him. Intino genitum. One kasa na wo ye then open office. Our Memphis Central. A J nomination for a year bibia after a month. No I trust our crowd away the aba. Say who disqualify no. Sebi. Minuanum. O memu aye wo mu ham. Emran ye di ye adwuma. Enye sa 1992 Constitution, Article 94, the heading, qualification and eligibility in a down. To be qualified to be a member of Parliament, Constitution and heading, it provided the criteria. And yes, sir. Statutana somewhat a troyano. Who will say or provide any constitutional basis for the decision of marriage? Because Omuni said the Omo yeno. Eye boa payo. Omu ni se di omo ye no. Omo ye di aboa MPP amanyoku. So that at the end, and in fact, Oko social media is here. MPP MP for Tafo Pankrono, Honorable Vincent Asefua. Or the actual actually Facebook said, oh, Oma Winia Memphis Central did that. Only MPP for year Nyomanokrana, they can't even hide their intention. The level of the lack of sophistication. I want no my ya omo ye no. Abro adwen ene ntiase so. Na obebi sa won pa say, pa ne kura mu den kura na Jemensa ehwehwe fi ndisi. Sebi o kura de wo ye den referee. Ena sebi o ball aye ball kura na ne ye o de bi aye friend almost say video assistance the referee. Se ne papa mu kura na nka obeto nsa ye den afre so weni we na ekoso ya dwen kire ne den ene den. No atros akrata we. And the whole idea is to say obe undermine NDC any nyoma ye ewo Western region. And no na ne nyame ya dom with the leadership of their party. Ye de asem no e de akoye den e de akopie court. Court nso ye de injunction application. Mokaya emra na NDC yes ye call your primaries parliamentary and presidential for the 13th of May 2023. Ya Kwabnadu for the Amanyoko no court. Emra wa file injunction na oko survey ewo electoral commission no. Electoral commission ye press release said the service of an injunction on them is as good as what? The injunction being granted. The press release is there. So, Sebio, principle na president na electoral commission has said no. Ayedin our honor. They should abide by their own what? President Oma said. Into the air can you say, Sadly, ye bear kuwasem to the very last end. Say Jemensa Bosman Asari. Ana Apiahini, Ana Samotete, Ometra omo office wono, Nakase, Omonome using tricks. Na omo they are prepare a parliamentary seat free of charge for the MPP. A yadia, like me general secretary, a kayan. Yebekum, akubiu. Madam Jemensa, any bossman asari, omo mpo mo asema. Sakrata na omo troye na omo yeden, omo ntwensan. Me say omo mpo mo asema. Na the ese nyina ye hunu no say one day enyumre bi with a stroke of a pen omo say enkrofo a omo wo ligbe lolobi Santro Kofi Akwafu omo nto aba. What you did that? From 1992 electoral commission chairperson sayehu wo mamu hano. Man will be that. So bit meet now with a stroke of a pen. I can say a community made up of over 10,000 people. Omontuaba. And there is no form of accountability. Yemami Jemensa, the last presidential election, or corrected result over 5 times. And they do say, you're in a court. Omekasa, mami yejane. It's not doing none say, Obekimi aye di ope. She's above the law. The ope no obey. In constitutional democracy, yentina hosa. Me say constitutional democracy yenye yentina hosa. It is say, oh yeah, Sebio, electoral commission chairperson. Now, we are independent. Are you independent from common sense? Mr. Mo, is the electoral commission independent from common sense? We are independent. mesrɛ mo ani diem baabi a yɛdu no ɛdu sɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛbɛsɔre waka ato ntosi kɔkorɔ ɛde akyerɛ electoral commission wei sɛ enough is enough. Bedamasi.
Thank you very much. And then let me quickly acknowledge the following media houses too who are taking this press alive. Dabon 102.5 FM in Dabon, Sunyani 88.1 FM, Ho 92.5 FM, Tadi 99.1 FM, Adeshe 91 FM, all in Kumasi. So we'll have some few minutes for questions. So please, anyone with a question can come to my right hand and they should straightly be for the media. So if you come, you mention your media house and then you ask your question, if any. From behind.
Okay, Michael Jones. So, Michael, in regards to what's going on in Parliament now, will the NDC write to the Speaker of Parliament to ask that your incumbent member of Parliament be removed from Parliament?
I appreciate your question, but we want to separate what is happening in Parliament from what we are doing now. So let's focus on this very well.
Great, okay. So you also mentioned in your statement that you are going to employ all arsenals available to you. I mean, many times things have come out as statement, people have misinterpreted this to mean or some other things. I mean, specifically, what steps do you intend to take? How long do you intend to go ahead to do this? Because we know that the EC started the printing of some of these polls in ballot last week Friday, which you already had issues with. So how long do you intend to go ahead with this? What other steps do you intend to take? Do you intend to petition, say, Parliament or the judiciary or even the presidency itself? Or these are other means to do with this? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Next one.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Ulembeji. You made it clear to us that the legal team of the party has returned to the electoral commission. I want to know what is the purpose. Is it to place an injunction on the constituency or a general injunction on the main election?
Okay. Right.
Yes. The family now wanted to create one top media, top radio, top FM, top TV. Say, you say, I can't read Tiawa. And this is how you call it through. Oh, to be a dear, any about to commission. The year say, what can read the way or day a year, sir, is the way about the year NDC Amani. The attorney said, if you walk a seven brain addition war a year and see, or no, NDC may want
to address it. So let me do the Chi one and then I'll come quickly to the English. From the very last one. But na utie the na American na bijina ha kan say injunction no eba May. May na eba ye no by June you file notice of appeal immediately. And so yes, I hear the friend no stay of execution of the injunction order. Emma pay a procedure and the CM court the judge now one master order no first. So refuse here obey the friend repeat application. So repeat application you filing on the 4th of July. But what you filing on the 4th of July. On the 4th of July, they call registry. No registry no my will say the court of appeal ebetina was second D. But omoba within 15, 16, 17 July. 3 days. It was secondary for the month. Into one and my yen say yemra on the 17th MB movie application. 2 days to the time in a registry in the say and ya dear court no bed day a betna until October. Electoral Commission into one and you're correct say yan two anamon bia ye two anamon like me no court now the fix say 17th at the May, except to say all my who say ya dear court no bed day until October. Me no ka say October you cry ye ka say and na e October day omo ma ye date kra ma ye nko back said you assuming cry say bibi say den e wo ho no ye yen control courts emra omo ye den ema nti ye hu say electoral commission ya betu da say o ba be ye nomination no in ye choose an amount say and ye sa dia election no kra no nkrofo no kra person ye den ye anole nti ye be anole ni ayeden ya run election before ina ye fair electoral commission say sana mo yi ni etu electoral commission by ebe supervise election the rerun na ye on the 8th of September ewo amenfi barely a month ago iti sebio the SCA bia no ya den ya ye. The other question now, the other journalists ebisa no obisa say ye chita for then na omo ye afa sanyoma we. Emra na general secretary ekasa. Okay. So what I need to say is that one, the rank and file of our party are encouraged to remain calm. The letter came yesterday. We have served the Electoral Commission with a writ and an injunction application. That should tell you the seriousness with which we are dealing with this matter. Because we consider it as a matter of grave concern. If Jane Mensah Somotu, on the basis of whatever, can disenfranchise the people in Central Kofi, Ligbe, Akpafu, and was not held accountable for that unconstitutional conduct, she feels that she can do it. So the next is Amenfi Central. The next may be your constituency. And that is why it is important that we call her to order. Look, deep democracy, and I've always maintained that the NDC has a unique association with the 1992 Constitution, having midwifed this Constitution. So we cherish it so much. And that is why we want to jealously guide it. Jemesa is behaving like the two women who appeared before King Solomon. The one that did not birth the child was willing to get the child killed. That is the mindset of Madam Jane Mensah. She's like that woman. And we believe that we should not countenance it. Look, we are encouraging all Democrats. And I tell you this, recently, in the United States of America, the Supreme Court of a state took the decision. The Supreme Court took a decision, and that decision was simple: to disallow the presence of Donald Trump on the ballots. You know what the Supreme Court of the United States of America said? It said it is not in the place of the court to provide choices for the electorates. How much more Jane Mensah? How much more Jane Mensah? Effectively, what she has done is to say, the people of Amenfi, you are left with only this choice. That's gerrymandering. And that's extremely dubious. We should not encourage it. I want to further state, and the brother who asked the question in account, just to let everybody know, when the injunction was first granted, we took steps to appeal it. Per our procedures, you have the opportunity to apply to stay the execution of that order. You have to go before the judge who granted that or gave that order. We appeared, he refused it. Then the process allows you to do what we call repeat application. We filed it on the 4th of July. I personally went to the registry to do the filing in 2nd D. We were given the 17th of July to come and move the application because we're told that the Court of Appeal panel that sits in the Western region, they come for 3 days continuous. So 15, 16, 17. So we opted for the 17th. That whole week, the 15, 16, 17, there was no sitting of the Court of Appeal. We were told to come back in October. So at all material time, we have taken proactive steps to have this matter. But there were issues beyond our control. I don't fix a court panel. Mine is a date is given. I go, argue, and what the court says. If the court says we are not sitting, can I go and drag the judges to go and sit there? So that is the position that we found ourselves as a political party. And that is why we took that proactive decision that if that is the case, annul and rerun. And this rerun was supervised and conducted by the Electoral Commission in Amenfi. And in fact, if you look at the declaration of results form, and I'll share it with you, the journalists, it was signed by the presiding officer, being the district EC committee. And you know the EC, they have this nice vest they put on. So you can see him in the vest, supervising the acclamation. Now, having done all of this, you now come and tell us, and you think this was done in good faith? No. We smell the collaboration between the elephant. You know, anywhere the elephant is, you know what happens. Thank you. Yes. So just for the record, like I pointed out this morning, by 10, we had cause to be filed at the registry of the High Court's general jurisdiction, a writ with an accompanying injunction application. That injunction application, together with a writ, was promptly served on the Electoral Commission. It was received by an officer at the confidential registry or something for